Okay, so today we are getting into mad fantasy booking territory that has done somewhat of a number on the internet recently, mostly social media. And look, I want to make it very clear that we should be fantasy booking and we should be having fun. Sometimes people say that that isn't the right thing to do with pro wrestling, but it is, because it is very cool. It's a fairy tale, it's a story, it's an angle, it's a narrative. You want to come up with some ridiculous idea and chat about it by your friends. That is exactly what I think it should be all about. It just is. And if you get work sometimes, that's cool too. Wrestling in 2024 is really weird. But that doesn't mean I have to accept all of your nonsense. And honestly, there were so many of these posts the other day. I think one of them actually got some traction and did some numbers. And fair play to that guy, whoever it was. And the idea is that Seth Rollins is actually a snake. He's some sort of asshole. And given that he did do the Shield back in 2014, whatever it was, he is setting Cody Rhodes up at WrestleMania. So just as he is about to beat Roman Reigns, which we all need this year, let's not pretend otherwise, Seth will show his true colors, probably wear some kind of spangly outfit. I don't know. He'll give Cody Rhodes the pedigree. Roman Reigns will pin him. Roman Reigns will then do the WWE shocked face. And then I guess we go into Seth versus Cody for the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, let me say this. If that does happen, I'm never watching wrestling again until Raw rolls round. Then I'll just watch Raw. Now, look, I'm all for crazy out of nowhere angles. I really, really am. I think sometimes they can be fun. And also, it does allow people to go out crazy on the internet, which is my favorite thing in the world until you cross that line and people go absolutely loony. But given everything that has happened in 2024 already with The Rock and Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, I do think there is a risk of screwing your audience over too much. I mean, you can go watch an interview that The Rock did with Entertainment Tonight, which was like a couple of weeks ago, and it ends with the voiceover person saying, oh, and at WrestleMania 40, it's gonna be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, right? So clearly that was meant to be the plan at one point. Then the whole We Want Cody thing went down. Fair play to WWE and Dwayne Johnson and Roman Reigns, Joanna White, and all these people for retconning it and actually looking at the situation and going, okay, what can we do to, I don't want to say salvage it, because I think it would have been pretty cool anyway, but what we do have now is way better. Again, go and check out The Rock's Instagram where he's properly leaning into this heel stuff. I think it's really cool, and I think it's actually what that character needed. Again, even if we did stumble into it, there's nothing wrong with Dwayne The Rock Johnson coming back, but this is the first time it really feels like we've got old school Rock, and I think that's important, especially if it's going to be his last run. And also, we've seen it happen before, it will happen again. He's probably going to be so damn entertaining that by like April 1st, everyone's going to love him again anyway, so it's mission success. But ultimately, what WWE is doing right now is they're staring you right in the eye as best they can, and they're saying Cody Rhodes is finally going to win that championship. It's going to be the end of Roman Reigns or his big title run. It's going to be the end of the bloodline, because if you don't do it here, I really do think you are going to lose a lot of faith that WWE has done a great job in building up. Now, this actually ties back into WrestleMania 39. We've talked about this before. I was certainly an advocate for what we did do, because I convinced myself that come WrestleMania 40, we pull the trigger, and those extra 12 months would actually be pretty badass, and I still stand by that. I did, however, do a little bit of a fickle twist when I thought it was going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, because yes, I have convinced myself, there's that word again, that Cody Rhodes has to win at WrestleMania 40, mostly because he is the next John Cena or the next babyface or the next face of the company, whatever you want to call it. And if you put him in two prominent spots and he fails both times, even if it is with interference from Solo Sikoa or Seth Rollins, all you're going to do is make people start going, well, there's no point me believing in this anymore, because we're never actually going to get there. Now, there is some chatter out there too. Apparently, WWE wants Roman Reigns to break Hogan's record, which I think means he would have to hold it till September. I'm just going to poo-poo that now. I don't believe that is true. Nobody cares. Like, Roman Reigns has held it for so long now, like he beat Pedro Morales and whoever the hell else he beat on this crazy, crazy run, that if he beats one more person now, it's like, all right, it's like you've just given me 32 pizzas. You know, do you want a 33rd one? But yeah, I will eat it, but I'm kind of a bit bored of it now. You just have to look at the situation that we have in front of us, and the time to get all of this done and refresh WWE coming out of WrestleMania is with Cody Rhodes being the champion. Now, if you are going to do any twists and turns or spangly nonsense, I think it should be The Rock turning on Roman Reigns. That's what he should do. Now, he shouldn't ever touch Roman Reigns, at least not on night 2. He should take out Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso, and that allows Cody to hit 72 crossroads when he does get the pin. Then he can celebrate at the end of Mania 40 with The Rock, and trust me, that's no bad thing, given the star power The Rock has. But I don't think it does anything for Seth Rollins. I don't know how he's going to justify that. What's he going to say?
Oh, you didn't want to come after my World Heavyweight title because you think it's number 2, eh? I don't like you anymore.
That's just pathetic. And what it's going to do is harm that championship even more. This is why, as a quick side quest, I think Drew McIntyre should probably win that belt, because he spits so much truth at the moment, and he is a heel. I think he can be a little bit more venomous about how important that title should be. And look, Seth Rollins has absolutely set that up. I think Seth Rollins has been amazing over the last year. But to me right now, with the momentum Drew has, he could be the guy to really go, right, no more nonsense when it comes to this. We are going to build 2 world championships. And look, yes, I know people have been listening to other shows, as you should do, of course. And a couple of times, Brian Alvarez, I believe, has said that he is convinced that it was meant to be Roman Reigns losing and Cody Rhodes winning at at WrestleMania 39, but then this was soon after or soon before Vince McMahon kind of waltzed back in during that ridiculous return, and to throw his weight around, he changed all of the plans. Now, actually, if you do go through the rest of 2023, there may be some truth in that, but it didn't happen. There's no point dealing in what ifs and buts and maybes. What we do know is we're around about 6 weeks away from WrestleMania. People want Cody Rhodes to win. We found an amazing place for The Rock. Seth Rollins is now slowly going away from the more goofy side of his character to the serious side of the character, and I think that's really helping him too, because again, everything has to evolve and everything has to grow. And the last thing you want to do now is a swerve for a swerve. Somebody that used to do that a lot was one Vince Russo. Now, let's not pretend he didn't have some home runs, Survivor Series 1998, and what The Rock did, ironically, I thought was absolutely amazing. But going back to my point earlier, I think if you do this now, we've spent so much time telling people, if you invest in our stories, you will get a payoff. Go and look at the SmackDown numbers from last week, right? SmackDown did crazy in the ratings, and one of the most watched segments was Bayley, Io Sky, Damage Control, Dakota Kai, and that's because people are invested in the tale that we are telling, and we like Bayley. We are behind Bayley. We've seen her go from bad guy to good guy, and now we want her to get her just desserts. And it's the same with Cody. Now, listen, we've already stumbled once. When it comes to Cody Rhodes and that whole I shall not fight you at WrestleMania, then 3 days later, lol, I am going to fight you at WrestleMania. It doesn't bother me because it is just wrestling. But I understand why it did annoy some people, because that is now a little sort of asterisk next to the narrative. We didn't explain that one, so now I've got a plot hole. Now, look, we still have many weeks and months, so maybe they will do this, but it kind of feels like to me they just want us to forget about it because, again, it wasn't the plan. They're now trying to sort it out, and that to me is the most important thing. But don't just try and do heat for the sake of heat. I need to go back over the last 20 years of wrestling. Maybe this is just what WWE did so much that people now think this is the way to go. Because do not forget, when it was the WWF, it was absolutely a babyface company. 9 times out of 10, you had a babyface champion. And if you ever had a heel on top, it wouldn't last that long. It would always be the babyface trying to get the championship back. It's why when Triple H, I believe, won at one WrestleMania and retained his title, I think, and I could be wrong, that was the first time it happened. Again, if not, it's like 1, 2, or 3. And maybe that did kind of shift us in a different direction. But now, what we have with WWE feels very traditional to me, as dumb as that sounds. We tell stories, we take our time, we don't change championships too much, and that's because when we finally do say, whoop, it's going to somebody else, it feels like a massive deal. And do you really want another WrestleMania ending with Roman Reigns standing tall? I think Roman Reigns is absolutely brilliant, and he's a huge reason why the entire wrestling industry right now has boomed as much as it has. He was absolutely the right guy at the right time. But it's the law of diminishing returns. We've seen it, we've done it, and if he does come out the other side with the championship, even if he does take on The Rock, you don't need the title there. The Rock versus Roman Reigns sells itself because, again, you have the biggest guy in wrestling and just someone who is a massive super duper whooper star to ridiculous levels. Whereas Cody, who is going to be there week to week and day to day, and we're trying to build everything around, will benefit from that, because if you are a new viewer and you see Cody Rhodes and you love him and he's the champion, he's whooping everybody's ass, that just ticks a bunch of boxes. So I really don't think we need to go into Cody versus Seth Rollins post WrestleMania. In fact, I don't know what they're going to do with the titles. I have a funny feeling Cody Rhodes may stay on Raw and Seth Rollins may go to SmackDown, but that's perfectly cool. I mean, Drew McIntyre may be the champion at that point. Maybe it's a Sami Zayn. We do not know. But we can then sort of set up other feuds. Like, I believe Gunther will lose at WrestleMania, but he's such a massive star right now, he could go into a feud with Cody Rhodes, and that's going to send me absolutely nuts, because I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, is Gunther going to win that championship? And actually, that's where we should be doing twists. Now, I'm not saying this would be good or bad. I'd have to see how it plays out. But if Cody was only a champion for like 2 months and then he lost it before winning it back at SummerSlam, the reason I like that is because it's the antithesis to what we did with Roman Reigns. And as we have proven over the last year or so, Cody is so damned over. I think he is one of the few people in the company that could get away with it. So one, you do surprise your audience in a good way and tell them, things are different now. You better tune in next week. But also, it crowns Gunther as a world champion. Who's going to get mad at that? And it doesn't matter if Cody is the guy to get that title back from someone like the Ring General, because again, that's what WWF used to do back in the day. You have the big, bad, menacing heel. He has a little bit of a run. He loses his belt, but as long as you have a plan for him afterwards, everything's going to be okay. And then towards the end of 2024 or into 2025, you can make Gunther a championship, right? We have 2 belts, and if you're going to use those belts, it should be other people being elevated into those positions. So obviously Cody, obviously Seth Rollins, obviously Gunther, and Sami Zayn should have a title run, and Drew McIntyre, and LA Knight, and of course Kevin Owens. I'm going to keep shouting that from the rooftops. I don't know how much longer he has resting. I suppose it's a pretty long time. But before he does sort of get to that veteran, super veteran stage, I would like to see him with one final world championship run. Now, I think the best proof to all of this is that it's story stories that we enjoy. Again, I think that has become very evident over the last few months. So as long as you do tell them and you allow them to make sense and they're not 2 + 2 = potato, you can pick anybody. All you got to do is make sure you build them up. Remember damage control. And remember the fact we're doing the same with Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. They just keep looking at each other all the time now. As of me saying these words, we ain't even through the elimination chamber. No wonder Nia Jax is so pissed. People are looking past her, and you don't look past Nia Jax. And again, as a quick aside, I think she's done very well since she returned. So it really did make me laugh. And look, ultimately, if they do it, it'll be great for me because it's awesome content. But I think this is a romantic comedy WrestleMania. You want to see the 2 leads get together at the end. I want to see the tag match on night 1. I don't know who wins that. Again, it all depends what's happening on night 2. It doesn't really matter. But then we do get to Sunday, and Cody Rhodes finishes it by finishing his story, obviously, and becoming the champion. And we'll all feel warm and fuzzy in our tum-tum. Then we tune into Raw. That's when you can do your big angle. If Seth wants to screw him there, fine. I do not give a flub, but we don't have to do it at WrestleMania. Sometimes you do need the happy whoopsie-doo. I feel great in my Tootsie Toes ending. And everything is set up for that, especially because, like I say, you could turn The Rock back face. And he just has a fun 6-week run as a heel that we can all enjoy. So we shall wait and see. But bless you all for just wanting chaos all of the time. As an agent of chaos, me and Christopher Nolan totally understand. Now look, please do click the video on the screen, which is me talking about that big tag team match between The Rock and Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins and how I see it going. Click the bell, ding ding, notification crew. Of course, leave a comment below and tell me how useless I am. I know this. Like the video, share the video, and please do subscribe. Otherwise, you go to GorillaMind.com/Simon. Just go to Simon to get 10% off. These aren't just sort of like pre-workout supplements or protein. They have multivitamins and other supplements that I think are the best on the market. That's why I'm happy to be affiliated with them. Patreon.com/Simon316. All the social media is Simon316. It's Simon J. Miller on TikTok. It's Simon Miller on Cameo. If you want any kind of a shout out for Christmas, your birthday, why we do Christmas in February, I don't know, but I've said it now. And please go to Pro Wrestling Tees and Science and Athletics. If you want some Simon Miller merchandise, just search for my name, or you can click the description down there. But that is everything. Stop going crazy with heel turns, although realistically, keep going mad with heel turns. Who else can we turn heel? Sami Zayn. Man, I should have done a video about that. Some people have also said they think this sort of change in Sami's behavior is him going bad guy, whereas I took it to be more of the NXT underdog guy, but he's just going to have a little bit more fire under him. But I suppose he could become a villain, so let me know what you think about that too. And now I think about it, you damn right we're going to do a video about that. Goodbye.